Hello, I'm Nathan Judah. I'm here with Wolves reporter Tim Spiers. Tim, we've just spoken to Kenny Jackett and some very interesting news regarding the takeover.
Yeah, I mean, we've pressed him on the issue a couple of times now, and we're asking him about the lack of transfer activity at Wolves. In the last few weeks, they've only signed one backup goalkeeper so far, and he essentially said, we're waiting on takeover news, takeover developments before we can sign players. I mean, it was
surreal, really.
Surreal, and as clear as that, really. I mean, I guess with all the speculation, it'd be difficult for everybody at the club to deny it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, basically just came out and said we're waiting on developments as far as bringing in transfers go.
Well, I think this is the main thing to come out of you talking to Kenny today, is that it's almost when and not if now that there are rumours. The rumours are out there, but it was kind of a confirmation today that something serious is in the pipework.
I think so. Although, if it was when, not if, then we wouldn't have been speaking to Kenny today. Because if the suggestions are to be believed, as we certainly believe they are, about Lopetegui in Spain becoming the next manager, should the takeover go ahead, if it's 100% confirmed that it is going ahead, then Kenny will still want to be here. Because it's an awful position for him to be in. It's an awful position.
Terrible.
Not of the club's making. I mean, these leaks have emanated from Spain. They certainly haven't come from the club. They certainly haven't come from China. So I think it's really unfortunate that this has come out.
There's no denial there whatsoever. I mean,
no, there's no denial. But it's really unfortunate for the here and now. For Kenny Jackett and all these players have got to be putting up with this for the time being, which is the last thing that they want over their heads when they're trying to prepare for the new season.
Absolutely, and Wolves fans as well. I mean, they want to know. There's obviously a lot of excitement building socially in social media, but at the same time, like you say, this could take months, and so transfer targets and players. I mean, Kenny's hands are tied, aren't they?
Well, yeah, everything's on hold basically.
And he kind of admitted that, didn't he?
That's the message we're getting, that everything is on hold for the time being. And with the season a month away, that's terrible news for the here and now. If that all changes next week and a Chinese billionaire takes the club over and literally starts splashing the cash straight away, then it's a completely different story. But for the here and now, Wolves are in limbo.
And it must be rife amongst in the dressing room and in the players, and Kenny knows it. I'm sure he can't address it. So very difficult, really, isn't it, for Kenny and for the players now that back for pre-season?
Well, it's all the fans are talking about, and I'm sure it's all the players are talking about. I mean, this is their livelihoods at stake here. That they all still won't be here if this takeover happens.
Yeah.
They'll be concerned about their futures.
Yeah.
Obviously, the man that impacts most of all for the here and now is Kenny Jackett. If he's to leave, if he's to be replaced. So what a horrible position for him to kind of have hanging over his head at the moment. How's he supposed to focus 100% on the new season? Certainly on bringing players in, which is not the case at the moment. How's he supposed to focus his squad? How's he supposed to plan for who's playing left wing on the first day of the season? They haven't got one at the moment. So that's my concern at the moment, that we've got no clarity, and if this doesn't happen, and Wolves have made no signings, despite the fact they've had 2 months to the end of last season, a demoralised squad, a demoralised head coach, then they're in a bit of trouble. We don't want to put a dampener on all the excitement that the Wolves fans are feeling right now. I mean, this is one of the biggest developments in the history of the club if it happens. But I think we've just got to proceed with a bit of an air of caution at the moment, not get too carried away, and wait for official confirmation of anything happening. Because at the moment it still is, it's speculation. We're sure that something is happening, but it's not 100% definite yet. So I think we should proceed with an air of caution. And
like you say, if this Robin Lee does come in, I mean, the players' futures. It's difficult, isn't it? Because he could just have a fire sale and bring in who he wants. If that's what some of the rumours are.
Well, certainly if he's got a new manager lined up already, then it's clear that he wants a complete change as to how things work, both in playing style, in the players that they'd have, in the manager that they'd have, in the way that everything works at the club would be completely transformed. Which is a huge risk in the Championship, but obviously money talks, and you'd think with the kind of money he's got, they'd be able to buy their way out of the division. So, like I say, it's all very exciting. It's mouth-watering for Wolves fans. But until something happens, then it's just all ifs, buts, and maybes at the moment.
Like you say, Kenny Jackett carries on as normal. He did say that he really wants two up front into this season. He wanted to go with two strikers. We've talked about Nwadiko not being available for the start of the season, but it's very difficult for him to bring in anyone, isn't it?
Well, Wolves don't just make signings on the hoof. They scout players for 18 months, 2 years in advance. We know that for a fact. So the kind of players that they've been looking at for the last year or two are not the kind of players that they're going to be signing if they've got a billionaire owner. So it'll just be a case of chucking money at it and bringing in players that this new manager is looking at. But not the kind of players that Kevin Thelwell and others will have been looking at over the past 2 years. You can be certain of that. So it's all a massive leap into the unknown, is what I'm saying.
And I guess we're not going to hear anything confirmed until the deal's done. I wouldn't expect to hear anything from Jez Moxey.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we've heard a lot about Lopetegui being the new manager, and him agreeing to be somebody's manager should they take over the club. But as far as takeover details go, very sparse. You know, people I speak to who are clued up in and around the club, who know what's happening, either don't know or I'm getting conflicting messages about what's happening. Because of the confidentiality agreements that are involved in this, Wolves certainly won't be talking about it until anything's confirmed. And people close to the deal will be very reluctant to talk about it as well. So a lot of the information about that takeover should kind of be taken with a pinch of salt until it's confirmed. I mean, I think that's the only responsible way to proceed at the moment. But like I said, there is still that air of limbo around the club at the moment. The season's so close now; it's a month away. There's so much preparation that needs to be done. So we need clarification on exactly what's happening. If there is a takeover deal being done, it needs to be done sooner rather than later.
Yeah, if and when this takeover happens, you'll be the first to know. Make sure you log on to expressandstyle.com for all the latest Wolves news.